So this is going to be Willow's labor and delivery story and how I feel so robbed from it. Granted, I knew I wasn't bringing home my daughter, but I still wanted everything to feel normal. Like I wanted her birth to feel as normal as possible. And I was very adamant with everybody, the nurses, the doctors, my mom, my husband. Like I was very, very adamant about having it completely as normal as possible. I expressed to them I wanted to be very alert and oriented when I delivered her. I expressed I did not want the epidural unless I absolutely felt like I needed it, and that I would just use Tylenol and very minimal pain relief if I needed it. I chose to go to Boston because they were truly the best to me and my husband since the beginning. So we chose to do it out of state, which is about an hour away from where we live. So we stayed in a hotel. They gave me the induction medication. I guess it's one pill that they start you off with, and you should go to the hospital within 24 hours taking this medication to have the true induction medication started at that point. So I went to the hospital. It was Thursday, July 20, I think it was the 28th. No. 28th. The 29th. The 29th. So I was supposed to go into the hospital the following day, which is a Friday at nighttime for my induction. Well, they pushed it back. Now, mind you, we're in a hotel close to the hospital in Boston. I did get the hotel room until that Sunday because my parents were coming, and so they would have a place to stay because we didn't know how long labor was going to be because they said it could take up to 3 days to deliver her. So we just wanted to be prepared. And so they pushed it back until Saturday morning. So I was supposed to go to the hospital at 10 a.m. to be induced. And when I called them, because you have to call them to verify it's okay for you to come, that they have a room for you. And the lady was so rude to me, saying how all inductions have been pushed back to the end of the day and that we will receive a phone call, because I asked about how long, and she goes, you'll receive a call when the bed opens. No, nothing. It was really rude about it. So it was what it was. So now, mind you, this is almost 48 hours later after taking that one pill that the doctor gave me to ripen my cervix. And now at this point, I've been slowly having like cramping pains for the past 24 hours at the hotel. And then I tried to rest around like 2 o'clock. I tried to take a nap, figuring if they call me at nighttime to come in, it's going to be a long night of laboring. So I wanted to get some rest. So I laid down in the bed and maybe like took a nap for a half hour. And then, all of a sudden my stomach really started hurting and I started getting very nauseous. So then I ran to the bathroom. I ended up throwing up. And then I was just feeling really awful. And so I ended up calling the hospital to find out what is going on, because at this point it's almost 4 o'clock and I haven't heard anything. So she told me that there's still not a bed open, that the charge nurse will call me when something gets opened. And so I told her what I was experiencing and that, should I go to the ER at this point, because now I'm really sick and not feeling well. So she put me on hold, and I guess the charge nurse wanted me to come in for evaluation through the admitting floor of the labor and delivery admitting floor. So my mom, my husband, and I all went to the hospital with our bags, and they wouldn't let my mom in onto the triage floor of the OB, not the OB, the labor and delivery admissions. So we thought we were going to get a room pretty quickly. They ended up evaluating me. They gave me medicine to help me with my nausea because I was at the point I was dry heaving. So a couple of hours went by. We were still waiting for a room. And so I decided to tell my mom just to go back to the hotel and just wait for me to call her when we finally get a room, because at this point, I don't think we're going to get a room anytime soon. Because I had went to the bathroom and I seen a couple of the rooms filled with women that were laboring, like full active labor. So I knew they would get a room before I would. So I just told her, go back to the hotel, spend some time with my dad, and, I'll call her when we're ready to go. It took them 7 hours for me to get into a room. 7 hours. We got there at 4 o'clock. Didn't get a room until about 11 at night. So that's what, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, yeah. So 7 hours. And it was... So we called my mom, and because she was, the hotel was literally only like 10 minutes away. She came as quickly as she could, knowing that they were going to start the induction. So they had started the induction with putting 4 pills into my cervix. And almost like within a half hour, I was already starting to have contractions, like very mild, manageable contractions. My mom ended up coming at this point. And, I'm just trying to breathe through the contractions. They can see them on the screen. My mom's like, oh, they're very little, you'll be fine, whatever. They didn't feel little. They definitely felt kind of intense. They felt a little stronger than period cramps for me because I have PCOS. So when I do get my period every couple months, it is pretty intense for cramping. So compared, like my cramping is way worse when I don't get my period for like 6 months than when I get it on a monthly basis. So at that point, it was feeling like I didn't have my period in like a year. That's how, the contractions felt. So they were manageable. And so when they asked me if I wanted Tylenol, the nurse asked me, I said, no, I'm good. Because I didn't want to take it unless I really needed to take it. And at this point, I was really just breathing through it and just laying there, just getting through it. And she's like, oh, you need to get some rest because you have a long night ahead of you, blah, blah. And yeah, I was exhausted. I was very tired. Josh had taken the bed, so he was already sleeping. And my mom took the chair so she could be there, help me through the labor. So, like maybe 20 minutes goes by and the doctor comes in. And the nurse had previously talked about this one medication. I don't remember the name of it, to be honest with you. I will have to try and get it. But she was telling me about this medicine that would be in my system for 2 hours. It would make me drowsy, but it would let me sleep and take the edge off of the contractions. So that way my body can relax and, relax through labor, since I didn't want to do the epidural. And I asked her if it was going to make me drowsy, and she said yes, but only for 2 hours. She goes, and you still have at least 4 to 6 hours of laboring to do before you have her. So the doctor came in, because I still said no, I really didn't want anything at this point. The doctor came in and asked, and the nurse, completely, just sidetracked everything, and she was like, she doesn't want Tylenol. So I don't know what else to give her. And I'm thinking to myself, I didn't ask for Tylenol. You're offering it to me. And I said no, because I don't need it right now. And she's like, I just really need her to rest. She needs to rest. And the doctor goes, I agree. She needs to rest. She goes, why don't you want the Tylenol? And I told her the honest reason why I didn't want it. The honest reason why I didn't want it was, first of all, because I don't feel like I needed it at the moment, because I'm dealing with the contractions. They're not that bad. And I also didn't want to take Tylenol just in case I wanted to take something stronger if my contractions got even worse. And I wanted the option to take something stronger if I had to. And she told me that Tylenol can be in conjunction with anything that's stronger that she can give me. So they offered me all different kinds of different pain relief. And the nurse was really pressing for this one particular medication just so I can rest. And I was just so exhausted. I agreed. I said, fine. I said, she says it only lasts 2 hours. I will be out of my system in 2 hours. I have 4 to 6 hours of laboring. So by the time I get to the worst part of the labor and delivery, it would be already out of my system. And that way I could still experience my labor. Because I really wanted to experience her birth. I know a lot of people are like, they don't want to go through that. They don't want to deal with that. But I did. She was still my child. She was in me for 5 months. And I wanted that experience. I did. Because I have so much regret with my twins. I didn't want to see them. I let the hospital discard them the way that they do. I have no memories of them except for my ultrasound photos that I still have of them. So I had a lot of regrets. I mean, that was 13 years ago, but it still eats at me to this day that I have nothing of them and I didn't even see them. So I have no idea what my kids look like. So I wanted this to be different. I wanted to hold her. I wanted to see her right after she was born. Like, I just wanted that experience that I didn't get. So within like 10 minutes of her administering this medication to me, I started having active labor. I immediately went into active labor. I didn't gradually get there. It just went there full force with no stopping in between each contraction. I had no break between them. I was starting to get really out of it and drowsy, and I really remember bits and parts. I didn't realize how hard this was gonna be to talk about. I just been like fighting with my own emotions when it comes to this. So all I remember of her birth is the pain that I was in, me requesting an epidural because it was just so bad it wasn't stopping. I remember my mom saying, "Why are they not giving her a break? What is going on?" And I hear the nurse tell my mom that it's one of the side effects of the medication that it could put me in full active labor. And then exactly what it did. Which she did not tell me that prior to me agreeing to that medication. Because if she had told me that, I probably would have not done it. She told me that I had hours before. But that wasn't true. I literally delivered her 3 hours after we got into that room. She was born at 2:54 a.m. And I don't remember it at all. All I remember is the doctor saying, "Alicia, she's here." And then I hear Josh crying in the background, crying like I've never heard him cry before. And then I remember nothing until about 6 a.m. when the nurse comes back in and asks me if I'm ready to be discharged. And I hadn't even held or seen my daughter at this point because I was just so out of it. So at 6 o'clock, my mom helped me get up and sit up to try and hold her. We had called the chaplain to bless her before we let her go.
So at 6:15, the chaplain came in and blessed her, which you guys probably already see because I posted that the other day. Just know that was the first time I had held her. And then right after the chaplain left, I had my mom take her because I had to lay back down. And then I remember the doctor coming in, a different doctor that then who delivered her, coming in asking if we wanted to be transferred to admitted floor with her to spend more time. And at that point, I was just so angry. Like, I felt so disconnected to her that I told them that we could just get discharged, and we just wanted to say our final goodbyes to her before we let them take her. I was still very much out of it when we were discharged from the hospital. The minute they took her, the next thing I know, they're coming in with a wheelchair to take me out to my car. It was very fast. They took her and had me get dressed and all that, but... And then after I came home that following day, I slept all day because I was still having the medicine inside me that I was still really out of it. So I slept like almost all day. And so my mom, thank God for her. Because if it wasn't for her, I'd have no pictures of my daughter. So my mom managed to get pictures of her right after she was born, like still inside of me, attached to me, I should say. Pictures of Josh cutting the umbilical cord. They couldn't get footprints because of her skin was too moist because of all the water she was retaining while she was inside of me. So we got no handprints, no footprints. We literally only got the pictures of her that my mom took. That's the only thing we'll ever have of her. So I'm very grateful for my mom being there. And the crazy thing is, if we did it in Providence, closer to home, my mom wouldn't have been allowed in. So although I really hated the nurse I had, and I felt she was so cold-hearted and shouldn't have been in my room knowing what was going on, I'm grateful for doing it there because my mom was able to be there. And she truly was the unsung hero in this whole process. And I'm really so grateful for her. So my mom was telling me that Josh didn't want to hold her because I hadn't even seen her yet. But he held her right after she was born. My mom held her. So when I seen her for the first time, I just felt so disconnected from her. I honestly didn't even cry. I honestly didn't cry for almost a week. I literally just started crying a couple days ago of my grief because I've had so much anger in me from my experience. I just woke up one day and was like, my stomach is empty. She's not in there anymore. I don't remember having her. So I wanted to share my experience. Because I feel like it's important to share my story. Just like if there's someone out there going through what I'm going through right now. So we did choose to have an autopsy done so we could have more answers on what is wrong with her, because we still have no answers. We have no idea what happened to our baby and why we couldn't take her home. And we're still waiting for the results of that. I have my postpartum visit next Tuesday. Well, this coming Tuesday, not tomorrow, but because today's Monday. But the 17th. And hopefully we'll have results. I do know, according to the funeral home, they still haven't released her to them yet. So we're waiting for that. It's just a lot. I'm waiting for her birth certificate because they messed up on the date that she was born. They put the 31st instead of the 1st. So I'm still waiting for that. And yeah. I'm sure there's so much more that I could tell you that I'm just not remembering at this moment. But I wanted to make this video while it was still fresh in my head. Even though it was just a little over a week ago that I had her. I don't wish this out on anybody. She was so wanted and loved. And I pray that we can get a rainbow baby soon. She will never be able to be replaced. But I'm getting older. I'm 35. I only have a couple more years left to try. And I'm still trying for baby number 1. And we thought she was it. But God had other plans for her. And it was just not to be with us. So it is heartbreaking. And some days I can't get out of bed. I don't know how I'm getting through the day. What my purpose is anymore. I'm truly just broken. And I think the worst part that I'm really struggling with the most is she was born on my sister's birthday. And I told all my siblings that she was born. And only one sister responded. She responded with issues. But nonetheless, she still responded. I haven't talked to my siblings in over 2 years. Some of them I have no idea why. I have no idea why. And 2 of them I know why. And it's petty. And I've tried to make amends. But you are told your niece passed away. and you do say nothing. To me, that's just so cold-hearted. Like, I couldn't imagine my sisters telling me that my niece was born and died, and I not respond, no matter how bad the fight is. But I guess that's all I can expect from them. It's crazy when you really need your family and they're not there for you. Like, I really could have used my sisters during this time. I really could have. But I had my mom, and I'm so grateful for that. And I had a small group of friends and family that was there for me. And I love and appreciate every single one of them. Because honestly, without a good support team, I couldn't imagine have done this without them. So I'm gonna stop rambling on. And that is my story. And if you are going through the same thing that I just went through, I'm so sorry. And I know your pain. And it's awful. And I just hope and pray we all can get through it. Just one day at a time. Because there's going to be good days and there's going to be bad days. Today just happens to be a bad day for me. So thank you for following my journey. And hopefully my journey is not over yet.